Since the 1800s, people from all around the world have packed up their belongings and immigrated to the United States. Whether it was in search of religious freedoms, work, or a better life, people risked everything in order to live in America. One of those immigrants was Rosa DiCebro, an Italian immigrant and my great-grandmother. Rosa DiCebro was born on April 16, 1922, to Emilio and Margaret DiCebro. She was one of 14 siblings born into a middle-class family in Caserta, Italy, a small village about an hour from Naples. Rosa's family struggled to support 15 kids and had to fight hard for everything they wanted, especially during World War II. In 1945, when Rosa was 22 and met the love of her life, Luis Angelo Vacatura, she decided to leave Caserta and follow him to America.
My dad met her. He was in the service, went over to World War II and met her while he was in the service. Fell in love at first sight, I guess. And he came back after the war, and she came back following him on a different boat. He came back, crew from the Army, right? And she came back on one of the immigrant boats, I guess, that came over. She went to Ellis Island, Statue of Liberty, came through all that.
Rosa was nervous about leaving her family at the age of 22 and traveling across the world to America. But her youngest sister, Ida, decided to follow in her older sister's footsteps and follow Frank, a soldier in the U.S. Army, over to America. The two sisters traveled together to America and within years were both married. On April 16, 1945, Rosa and Louis got married and moved into Louis's father's house in Westerly, Rhode Island. Ida, her younger sister, moved not far down the road with Frank. One of the biggest hurdles that Rosa had to face along with many other immigrants was the English language. She also struggled to adjust to the American way of life. Because of this, she was never able to obtain her driver's license.
Even though she had come over from Italy, one of the biggest hurdles she had was the English language. She had to try to learn the English language, and she never really mastered it. I mean, she had quite a accent, broken English, and never drove. She never got a license. So you think of that with all these children and all these things going on in her life, she pretty much stayed at home. She tried to get a license, and the instructor went with her, and she was on the wrong side of the road. So he got a little alarmed and said to her, "Rosie, you probably shouldn't get your license." And so she never did get a license. But with all the uncles and aunts and brother-in-laws and cousins, she had plenty of people to get her around, and she did like to stay at home, and she did like to be with the family. She had 7 or 8 children, my Aunt Ida. My mother had 12 children, including me. She lost a set of twins, so actually had 10 that she had to deal with. 9 boys and 1 girl, believe it or not. And she handled it quite nicely. She was a stay-home mom, kept her busy.
Rosa was a stay-at-home mom, watching over 10 kids. Louis worked at the family business, Vacatura Bakery, in Westerly, Rhode Island. The bakery was located behind their 2-family home. The 2-family home housed her brother-in-laws and father-in-law, while on the other side she and her husband lived with their 10 kids. It was a 3-bedroom house with 1 bathroom and only 4 beds, and that included bunk beds and double beds. Rosa was known for her traditional dinners, cooking for a minimum of 15 people.
She had a tradition of, Sunday dinners. She was famous for her Sunday dinners. She would start them probably on Friday or Saturday to get ready for Sunday, but you'd wake up Sunday morning and, you'd have to go to church, of course, but before you went to church, she would already be cooking something, and, most people would want to have eggs and cereal for breakfast, but whatever she was cooking is what we wanted for breakfast, whether it be meatballs or sausages or just pasta or, because that's kind of was the ritual. Whatever was there on Sundays was what we ate. And so we'd have a big Sunday dinner. People would come over. We'd start at probably 12, 1 o'clock. We'd still be eating at 2 or 3 o'clock. And then before you know it, we'd be eating again at 6 or 7 o'clock. And it'd be the same food we ate all day, So that's how much she cooked for, so many people for 2 or 3 meals. But she did have a tendency to really put out some really good food.
Rosa had a full and healthy life, raising her children and cooking for her whole family, immediate or not. Her cooking is still known to this day, and a cookbook holding all her recipes carries on the traditions that have surrounded Rosa Vacaturo. Her joyful, long, full life unfortunately came to an end on October of 1993. She died at age 71 after a lot of health issues, including diabetes and later the stroke that took her life in October.